In this next clip of the famous TriMet board meeting, we will listen to the illustrious Bob Nelson, a manager here. When I first started, I never met the man. Apparently, Alan Eisenberg thinks the world of him. Talk to the board about TriMet fails, basically. Now, I got nothing against Bob Nelson, and I've got nothing against the analysis of TriMet through various means. I do have a problem with a man being brought back that's already receiving a fairly large pension, and his ability to make $200,000 a year more just at the whim of the general manager. And I don't know, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to see just how McFarland runs this place. He runs it as his personal property. He doesn't want to deal with labor anymore. He doesn't want to deal with statistics anymore. I'm not sure what he wants to do. He just wants to deal with the light rail, I guess. I don't know what McFarland does all day. Somebody should find out, because he's got everybody around him to doing the jobs that Fred used to do. So what is he doing? Anyway, Bob will talk about, they've discovered that the major reason the MAX trains fail is the prop fail. Well, let me tell you, I listen to the scanner often enough that I could have told you that without an investigation. Prop fail, dynamic brake fail, those are the two most common problems on the MAX. And you hear them all day long, okay, all day long. And you didn't need to pay me $200,000. I could have told you that. So anyway, Bob's going to tell us here how he's discovered that it's a prop fail that's causing the MAX problems, which then create other problems. And he doesn't tell us the component that fails. He won't tell us that, but he tells us that he's working with the manufacturer to make a more resistant MAX component. Whatever. I mean, $200,000. I object to it just based on that.
Hey, thank you, Neil. Mr. President, board members, good morning.
Good morning.
You'll recall that in the August briefing, I discussed the notion of delivering high-quality service in the stated objective areas of vehicle reliability, service delivery, and operator support, and also on the development of key performance indicators that would help us understand progress or performance toward improving in those areas. Those objectives have been in place for a while, and methods to measure have been in place for a while. What we're doing now is reassessing those measurements, those indicators, to better understand, let's call it a value that aligns with the mission and vision of the agency. So is the indicator value-driven and helps us achieve that objective? In a sense, these key performance indicators help us understand a level of performance. So we're making progress on that. We have the good fortune of having a very talented service analysis group. Our transportation and maintenance divisions are actively engaged in reviewing this and using these indicators to improve decision making and analysis. Now, we've always collected a lot of data. And we've done a good job on that. We have some powerful collection tools. What we're doing right now is, I would say, sharpening our focus on stuff so that as we report numbers against objectives, we want to more clearly define the gap. And the gap is rich for analysis. So we are doing more energy in that regard. And I want to just give you a couple of examples. Recently, we've experienced a modest uptick in bus collisions. So our analysts and our transportation personnel began looking at that. Anecdotally, we know that we've hired a lot of new drivers, and there's a tendency when you do that in big numbers to experience an increase in collisions, most of them being minor, meaning the safety envelope around the bus and the size of the vehicle is a little new to a new operator, and there's tendencies to have impacts of a minor nature, generally speaking. When we started drilling down into the numbers, we understood that our anecdotal observation about new drivers was reinforced by the numbers. That's true. But we also began to see that there was an increase in collisions in the bus operators in the 1 to 5 years of service category. So that got us thinking about some other things. And so we started looking at behavioral characteristics about that, meaning safety complaints, or operators who have a record or a pattern anyway of driving too fast, right? So we began to make correlations between those other attributes, informing observations about operators at risk, meaning those that may have an inclination to have a future collision based on these other behavioral characteristics. So it's very good stuff. It's very interesting. Now, these are correlations, right? They're not precision. I mean, precision is more machinery. But these correlations are related to human behavior, and there's where it gets to be a little judgmental. But it's close enough to give us direction in terms of opportunities to intervene with operators and counsel and coach so that we can be more preventive in our approach to collisions. It's really good work. Secondly, in our rail equipment maintenance, we know that the main cause of disabled trains on our right-of-way have to do with propulsion. Now, propulsion is not a single failure. There's a variety of reasons that cause propulsion failures. Through our analysis and work with the REM, our Rail Equipment Maintenance Management Team, and technicians, we were able to identify the single most cause for those failures. We've identified the component, and now we're working on a redesign of that component that will give us longer durability and significantly improve reliability. That single one component accounted for 35% of our failures. So this is this notion of continuous improvement as we go along, looking at things, not being able to do it all at once, but take it step by step, incrementally, look at opportunities for improvement and put resource into it. We're going to be collecting this data on a quarterly basis going forward, and we'll be coming back to you with quarterly reports on these key performance indicators. Take any questions or comments?
Is that manufacturer's problem, or are you working with the manufacturer of the system?
In some respects, yes. In this component I'm referring to, it's something that we're working with a vendor to redesign the component for longer durability. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Great.
Thank you.